Our next speaker will be Dominika Tasarz from Bayara, and she will talk about the crucial importance of openness in modern software development. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, thank you. Today I would like to talk to you about the importance of openness in modern software development, and especially in the context of open source, open standards, and interoperability. So I only have 15 minutes today, so I'm not going to cover everything that you will see on the slides, but I will focus on the most important bits. And normally I would have my colleague Chiara with me, but she couldn't make it for the conference, unfortunately. Okay, so let's begin. So what are the key components of openness in the software development, and in this context for me, for my universe, in the context of Java development? So open standards. Open standards facilitate this compatibility by ensuring the products can speak the same language, and a great example of that that I'm going to focus on today is Jakarta EE. Then we've got open source. Open source technologies empower collaboration. They empower, they share, you can share resources, you can have lower barriers for entry, and Bayara Community Edition is one of those examples for open source. And industry partnerships, really important. There is a necessity for collaboration between vendors, between communities, between foundations to ensure the standardization and to solve all the common challenges. And the example that I will be using today is microprofile. So, software openness is a foundation for interoperability. So what is interoperability? Interoperability is the capability of software to work across different systems, different networks, and different devices. So this quote from TechTarget goes into a little bit more detail, and I really like it because it focuses on what interoperability means for businesses. So basically, it helps businesses to achieve this higher efficiency and more holistic view of information. And in modern world, this is something that every business should be striving for. So interoperability, this data exchange between applications, databases, IT systems, is really crucial for the growth of modern technology. And again, modern technology, the growth of it, interoperability, and the open standards should really be the focus of most of the businesses today. So interoperability enables businesses to lower the cost, because obviously the maintenance associated with running those systems should be lower. You have increased access to critical information, especially for the end users. You improve the data quality through more sophisticated sourcing techniques with those systems. You use less time and resources, and that's quite an obvious one, because you need less time and less resources to process the data, because it's already interoperable. Prevention of silos, that one is really important for the end users, because there's less vendor lock-in. They have more flexibility to choose the systems and tools that they want to use. And then, especially for foundations and for vendors, there's a broader market landscape that they can operate in. So, interoperability relies on industry standards, and standards establish the rules that enable those different systems, different applications, and different devices to communicate with each other seamlessly without any issues. So the standard that I will be focusing on today is Jakarta EE. How many of you use Jakarta EE or heard of Jakarta EE? Okay, great. So Jakarta EE, previously Java EE, so that might be, some of you might be more familiar with that, is the standard, is the set of specifications for enterprise Java application development. So it's easy to adopt because it relies on Java, so this is a very, very popular language. A lot of people have background in Java, so it provides stability, portability, and backwards compatibility. And another example that I want to use is microprofile, and it's a really unique example, I think, because it's great for showcasing how the partnership between vendors and communities can work to enable interoperability and open standards. So microprofile is the open source community specification for enterprise Java microservices. So in the context of enabling greater interoperability, what role do open standards play? So for the rest of this presentation, I would like to focus on those four key benefits, and I will be using Jakarta EE and microprofile as the great examples for that. So we're going to talk about enhanced security, easier innovation, systems longevity, and accessibility and adaptability. So using Jakarta EE specifically as the example here, how open standards enable that your system is secure, ensure that your system is secure. So since Jakarta EE is an open standard, it incorporates those industry-accepted security practices. And it helps developers to implement the secure, standardized methods for protecting your applications, and that reduces the chances of having any security issues. Jakarta EE also supports modern security protocols, and that enables the authentication and secure data transmission. Jakarta EE is also compatible with Java, which I've already mentioned. So that means that it already comes with those tools, libraries, and features that for security that Java already has, and that a lot of developers would already be familiar with. And Jakarta EE also enables the container-based, container-managed security, which means that security configurations are handled between the server container rather than your application itself. So this helps, again, to ensure the consistent security policies across your environment, and this simplifies configuration management as well. So innovation, I would like to use the example of microprofile again, which I think it's a really unique initiative, which was founded in 2016 by IBM, Red Hat, Tommy Tribe, London Java Community, and Payara. And the whole idea of microprofile was, and still is, to enable Java Enterprise to adapt microservices easier. And it's a great idea because that's where the communities and vendors are coming together to drive a common goal around open source, open standards to make this open technology flourish. That's really great. So how is microprofile a good example of standards driving innovation? So microprofile provides modular and lightweight design, which basically means that developers can select the components that they need to keep their application lightweight. They can add more as they please. They can modernize it at their own pace and keep the environment modern and lightweight. Integration with modern cloud technologies. So microprofile is all about using Kubernetes and Docker. Again, the technologies, cloud technologies that everyone in the Java world should or is already getting familiar with, and that enables businesses to move to the cloud easier. And extended observability. So again, microprofile, just like Jakarta EE, comes with a lot of security metrics. You've got metrics, tracing, health check tools. So that provides you this deep insight into your application performance, which basically means you can innovate, you can experiment a bit more because you have this holistic view of what's going on in your environment, so you can be a bit more courageous with your experiments. So longevity and long-term compatibility, this is a really big one for enterprise businesses. And like I said, and like most of us know, Java has been already known for many, many years, has been around for many years. It is stable, it's compatible, it's portable. So for many Fortune 500 businesses are using Java in the environment, and they especially use Java Enterprise Edition, and hopefully already are using or will soon be moving to Jakarta EE. And also, a lot of people that are familiar with Java are not necessarily aware that a lot of products that they use, so Jetty, Tomcat, Spring, Jersey, they also rely on Jakarta EE. So talk about interoperability again, right? So Jakarta EE is based on recognized open standards. And they provide a consistent, stable framework for the developers to write their application for. So you avoid vendor lock-in, which is, again, really important for openness. And it makes it easier for the applications to integrate with other platforms. And it's much easier to adapt to the environments that you want to change and modernize. Jakarta EE backwards compatibility is also really important, especially for those that come from Java EE background. So it is compatible with Java EE previous editions, it is compatible with Jakarta EE previous editions, and again, that helps you to modernize your infrastructure at your own pace and be more adaptable. And then Jakarta EE also supports modern and legacy systems, and this is also a big one for those big enterprises because not many businesses in real life actually modernize at the high speed, just like vendors or even foundations would like them to. So a lot of them will still have those traditional on-premise environments as well as they would want to modernize and start being more cloud native. So again, using open standards like Jakarta EE helps you to do both at the same time, and you can take it at your own pace and modernize slowly. So accessibility and adaptability is the last one that I want to mention. And again, Civardi and Microprofile are both really good examples how they contribute to achieving that. So again, emphasis of open standards, and I keep talking about this because that's what they're all about. So already mentioned that they Civardi and Microprofile make you accessible to a broader developer community without this vendor lock-in that we really want to avoid in the open source world. Broad support for enterprise and microservices architectures. So again, with Civardi and Microprofile, you can maintain those large monolithic systems which are still predominantly being used by big enterprises. Again, they are not moving as fast as the industry is moving, so we do need to make sure that the technologies, the open source technologies and open standards that they use are allowing them to take this at their own pace and integrate with cloud and microservices slowly at the same time, still keeping the monolithic infrastructure and not to rush anything, because that never actually works. And easier development and maintenance for diverse teams. Again, because we're talking about Java here, and a lot of developers would be familiar with that. Having those APIs, Java-based APIs within Civardi and Microprofile helps those technologies, those open technologies, to be adapted by developers with different skills. It also allows you to adapt quickly to new requirements or new standards. So now that we know all those benefits of open standards, how do we ensure that they are actually being adopted by the businesses? So here are some of the best practices. So one of the best things that can happen in the ideal world is that you commit early. So basically from the start of your project, you are using open standards. And that would be great, because then you would avoid this complex re-engineering later. But this is the ideal scenario. And in real life, this doesn't always happen. So what we really need to do, and what we actually do at this conference as well, is we want to encourage involvement in open source projects, in open source commitment and contribution. So a lot of the businesses, and it's been mentioned in many presentations today, they use open source, but not many give back to open source. And I think what we need to do, especially if we are working with open source technologies, we need to ensure that developers that work on them, that use products or projects within the businesses, enterprise businesses, that are open source projects that they use, that they also give back, that they also take time to contribute, to raise issues, to maybe fix some issues, fix bugs, whatever they can do to contribute to open source would be valid. So in an ideal world, we would have businesses that actually give time for their developers to give back to the community and to the projects that they are working on within the business. So we need to advocate for that. We need to ensure that we talk about this, so there's more involvement in community projects and in the open standards. Form partnerships. This is a really big one, and I've been using Microprofile to showcase this as a great example, because it's in the benefit of both businesses, foundations, and communities to come together to drive those standards, to make sure that everything can be modernized at a good pace, that microservices, cloud, AI are all included in it, and that we can actually modernize those legacy systems using open standards and open source. And last but not least, advocate for open source. Talk about it. If you are a developer that has a blog, write a blog about your contribution, or how others can contribute to your favorite projects, or to your favorite open source products. Talk about it at the conferences like here. Just be it, share the love for open source, and that's how we can grow it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dominika. Do you have a question from the audience? So I got some time. I have a question, because this is relevant for my work as well. I personally find, because I come from a Java world as well and have had contact with Java EE and Civardi as well, I for some reason find the Java ecosystem quite intimidating to contribute to in respect to something like Go or Python, where everything's much more smaller structured. So I don't know, why do you think, or is it that way? Is there a reason for that way? Or do you have to approach it in a different way to contribute back to the Java ecosystem?
I think you need to start small. So rather than looking at the bigger picture and the whole Java environment, just look at the specific project that you are working on, or maybe the project that you are passionate about. Maybe you use it at work, maybe use it for your own personal project, and start there. Because most of those open source projects, they have their own rules, or they have the guidance where you can start. Jakarta is really good at sort of guiding you through that. So you've got a lot of resources, and I'm talking about Jakarta and Java, but most of those open source standards, open source projects will have the guidance how it's best to contribute and where to start. So you can start small without being overwhelmed, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.